Welcome back. In this video, we're going to add our dialog. So basically, we have this little window here, add account. Once we click on that, this dialog appears. And that's the dialog that we're going to set up in this video. So therefore, let's go ahead and create a new account dialog Kotlin file class, which will just be a file, account dialog. Okay, now this account dialog will be a composable. So let's add the add composable here. And I'm going to call this one fun account dialog. And it will require this dialog open, which will be a mutable state of booleans. So the idea is that we want to know whether we want to display that dialog or not. And this dialog open boolean will just hold this information. Should it appear or should it not appear? So basically we're saying any code that we have inside of our account dialog should only be visible if dialog open is true. So if its value is true, dialog open dot value. If that's the case, then display all the user the alert dialog that I want to display. So I'm going to use the alert dialog with, well, we need to import that with the, let's use material, not the material 3 version, with the on dismiss request. So here I'm just going to say dialog open value should be set to false when I want to dismiss the alert dialog. Otherwise, on top of that, I'm going to have a confirm button, which I'm going to design with a text button. So you see here, we have this confirm button, we have this dismiss button, we have add account, email, password, and we have this surrounding box here. So that's all of the things that we're going to set up. So the confirm button will just be a text button, which will have an on-click event. And the text button is basically a button that is of type text. So here, once we click on this, we're going to close the dialog. So dialog open is going to be set to false. And on top of that, we're going to have the text of here confirm. So we need to import text here. And I'm going to use the default one, not material 3. So that's our confirm button. And now we're going to require the same thing for our dismiss button. So I'm just going to paste it in here. Basically, the dismiss button is the same thing. It's a text button with an on-click event, which closes the dialog and just has a different text that says dismiss. And then finally, this thing here will have the title of add account. So there is this property called title, which I'm just going to display a text in, which will just say add account. And then the text, which is the content of that alert dialog. Okay, so we're still in this alert dialog. The text is basically the content of it. So the text should be these two buttons. So that's how we're going to misuse it. And we're going to use the column here because I want to put items on top of each other. As you see here, one added field with another text field. So these are two text fields. I'm going to set the modifier to be modifier dot wrap content height. Then add a padding of 16 density pixels towards the top. So top is going to be 16 dp. And we need to import a dp here. Okay, so this column needs to have content. And actually, let me also add another property here, which will be vertical arrangement, which will be then arrangement center. So what's the content of this column? Well, content piece number 1 is this text field, and then number 2 is this text field. So how do we create such a text field? Well, we just go ahead and use the text field composable. We import that text field composable. And I'm going to use the, well, I can't see far enough to the side, which sucks. So let me move my screen around, import function, and I'm going to use the first one, which is material, not material 3. Okay, now we can move that back. So our text field, what do we want it to be? Well, we want to have a value of nothing as default, and we need to design what should happen when we change the value. And I'm just going to say do nothing. So as I said, this is a purely UI driven day. So you can obviously create a state for it and maintain the text value state for account name. Then you can have another state for the here for the password and all of that. Okay. So I'm only going to do the UI. So on value change, we have now implemented. Now let's add a modifier here, which will be a little bit of padding towards the top of, let's say, 16 density pixels as well. That's for our text field, not for the column. And then finally, I'm going to set a label, which will just be a text, which says email. Okay, so that is this label that you see here inside of this email. When you click on it, you see that's where that happens. And you see when I click or enter anything, it's not updating because, as I said, it's a dummy UI project. So you know how to use states, right? We've done it multiple times, so you would have to set up a state for that. Then I'm going to have actually another text field, which does pretty much the same thing. So let's just copy that and let's give it the value of password. And this one will have a little less padding. So it should not be too far away from the other item. So I'm going to put that to 8 density pixels. Now, how do I give it a certain background? How do I make sure that this account dialog or this alert dialog has the right details assigned to it? So what I'm going to do is outside of this label and here outside of this text, I'm going to set the modifier to be modifier dot fill max width. Then it should have a background, and I'm going to use material and material theme dot colors dot primary, and let me import material theme here. Material theme, not the 3 version, and then it has the primary surface. So there's this theme primary surface, and I'm going to add a little bit of padding here as well. So now you can obviously use different colors, but I'm just using this primary surface color, which you get from being either light mode or dark mode. So that's the idea behind this, making sure that you display the color accordingly. You can test this app, the final app, with a different color settings, so with a light mode and dark mode, and see how it looks like. So then I'm going to add a shape, and the shape should be a rounded corner shape with 5 density pixels as the rounder. So you see here, this white thingy has a rounded corner here. That's what this rounded corner shape does. And I'm going to add a background color, which I'm going to just use color.white. And properties, dialog properties, I'm going to say dismiss on back press to true, and dismiss on click outside to true as well. So what these two do is basically I'm saying when I click outside here, this pop-up disappears, and when I click the back button, like so, it also disappears. That's what this dialog properties does for us with this miss on back press. So you can make sure that it doesn't disappear, so the dialog doesn't go away if you set those values to false. Okay, so that's what you can set up here. Okay, and that would be our account dialog. Now, where do we want to display our account dialog? Well, inside of our main view here. And here we wanted to open the dialog, right? But where we want to actually display the dialog is up here or down here next to the navigation. That's where I'm going to set up my account dialog, and dialog open will be dialog open. So what is this dialog open? It's going to be a variable that is going to be a remember variable that we will hold and make sure that we update it whenever we want the dialog to be open or not. So here I'm going to create a new val dialog open, which will be a remember variable, have mutable state of false by default, and we want it to be open once we click on this add account button inside of our drawer. Okay, that was the whole point of this video. Basically, when we click on this add account, this pop-up should appear. The pop-up is always there, but it's always invisible unless we set this variable open dialog, this one, or dialog open, to true. So let's just do that. Once we click on this add account button, we want the dialog to open. So here we can just say dialog open dot value is true. And now you see we're making it open true here, but where do we close it? And that's what we are doing in this account dialog all the time, where we're just saying, hey, whatever dialog open mutable state you're sending me, set that value to false when we want to dismiss it, when we click any of the buttons, so the dismiss button or the confirm button, or when we dismiss somewhere. Well, actually, this is not exactly it, but this is also going to dismiss the dialog. Now we could say that we want to display or hide the dialog there, but it's going to be dismissed automatically either way. So let's now rerun our application, and now we should be able to display this little pop-up. So home, add account, and there we are. We have our pop-up with the add account, white background, dismiss, confirm. We click on any of those, it disappears, dismiss. We also see that this functionality where we said the selected route, so the selected page is gray, well, has a gray background, is also working now. Now still our account is crashing our application, but the other parts of our application are working, which is great. So let's keep going in the next video.